What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junkdrummer TV, where I give my initial reactions, my hot takes, and my analysis on the drummers of today and yesterday, maybe tomorrow if I stick around that long. I am a professional drum teacher and a gigging musician, and I have been for the last 20 years. I've spent the last 4 days remodeling a laundry room, and it is so nice to be sitting down and talking about music again. During that remodel, I listened to Tool almost exclusively, and I had to fight the urge to cut all the drywall in odd-numbered lengths. That's right, that was a combination carpenter, odd time, dad joke, and you are welcome. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I talk about bass players a lot. I talk about bass players sometimes almost as much as I do the drummers, much to the chagrin of some commenters. But it's like this. If you are a drummer and you are not immediately listening for what the bass player's doing, you're missing out on about half of what our job is. And that's why today we're going to be doing Thundercat and his drummer, Justin Brown. I don't know that much about Justin Brown. I'm pretty sure that's his kind of touring drummer, but I am a new convert to the man, the myth, the legend that is Thundercat. I love him so much. He's so fucking cool. I think maybe the coolest human beings in the world right now are like Questlove, Elvis Costello, Snoop Dogg, and Thundercat. I think you'll find out later why. But the commenters who complain about me talking about bass players, dude, as a drummer, your bass player is your brother and or sister in the group. You are the honorable, the noble, oftentimes looked over rhythm section. I make a lot of jokes about how guitar players are a pain in the ass, and I'm only like half joking, but bass players, you know, over the years I've had just a natural camaraderie with bass players. I can name you like 5 or 6 of my best friends who are bass players, and it's why I mention bass players a lot in my videos, because I am always listening to the bass player first. And man, if there is a bass player you want to listen to first, it is Thundercat. I was turned on to him by one of my bass playing buddies, shout out Jimmy, and he was like, dude, you know, this guy did a song with Kenny Loggins and Michael McDonald, and he knows I'm a Steely Dan and a yacht rock fanatic. And I was like, what genius decided to do this in 2001, 17, 18, whenever it was? And that was the first thing I ever heard from Thundercat, and I was hooked. I was like, I need more of this dude in my life. So that's why we're doing this video today. Before we get into it, I'd like to thank my newest patron on my Patreon, Benjamin Carlson. Thank you very much. I have a little brother named Benjamin. Well, not little. He's way bigger than me, but he's little. He's younger. And we're going to be listening to Justin Brown play with the almighty Thundercat. Let's get into it right now. I picked this song because I don't know this one. This song is called the Tron Song. I really want it to be... God, he's such a good bass player. It's ridiculous. I really want this to be about the original Tron movie, because I love that movie. Just gonna say this now. I'm a big gear nerd. I try not to talk about gear on here because I think it can just kind of turn into just tedious nerdery. But I can't figure out if that Ibanez signature Thundercat bass. I'm gonna talk about Thundercat a lot in this. We're gonna get to Justin Brown though. I can't tell if it's the coolest bass in the world or if it's the wackest bass in the world. He has one of the all-time great falsettos. And man, if you're a bass player, you know how hard it is to sing and play bass lines like that. Whoo, man. just unleashing the hounds immediately. Thundercat has a bass tone that is distinctly his, and if you know anything about like perfect bass tone and the signature bass tones, you kind of thought that they had all been done. Like you think, Jamerson bass tone and Donald Duck bass tone and Duck Dunn and Jocko and Victor, but like no one has got a bass tone like him because no one really plays a hollow body Ibanez 6-string bass. Let's talk about what Justin is doing here. He is proving how much power the drummer has. When I heard the beginning of that, I was feeling that as kind of like a slinky, like that was really bad bass drum there at the end. I can't sing and play at the same time. I can barely play. But it sounded like it was going to be that. But the drummer is playing like double time over this bass part that's kind of quarter note feel. And he's playing double, like almost like this kind of like drum and bass, like late 90s, like jungle groove. Like if you know anything about like electronic music from that time, it could be seen as fusiony as well. This proves how much power the drummer has. We can make a song feel completely different, and the rest of the band is at our whims. Now he brought it back down to more like the 2 and 4 that I. Jesus Christ. So he's switching back and forth. He's making it slinky 2 and 4 like that. And man, when you've got a voice like that, you want to give it all the room from a drummer standpoint. But then there's that double time lick, or double time feel over top of. Bass line that can be seen as like sexy, slinky, but it's more frenetic. Oh shit. Behold Thundercat and Justin Brown. Okay, so right here, and if you know anything about Thundercat, his aesthetic and his style is just, he's just like this like alien love guru, like guy who would wear a wolf on his head. He's not of this earth. I'm sure of it. But a lot of his aesthetic is 70s and late 60s too, because he has a lot of soul in it, in his music. But it's like this like updated like 70s feel. But right here, and I've never heard him do any of this kind of stuff. I know Drunk, and I know It Is What It Is. Drunk, whatever it is. And the videos that I've watched on YouTube, and I've never seen him go into what is essentially like classic 70s fusion. Like this is kind of Ma Vishnu Orchestra. This is kind of very Billy Cobham-ish. If I'm not mistaken, Justin Brown has his drums switched where it's like maybe the 12 and the 10, which we know that Billy Cobham puts his drums in different orders. He doesn't go small to large like everyone else does. This feels like Tony Williams' Lifetime. And that's so hip. The Thundercat has the ear of... Yeah, that's very Tony Williams' Lifetime, like Holdsworth. Those keyboard sounds. Let me finish that last thought. One of the hippest things that Thundercat does, because he's very popular now. He has the ear of the people. And he has decided to not just do what is expected of someone who's on the come up like this. He is educating a gigantic group of people to music that they're not aware of. Younger people, like, man, I'm 43. We know Steely Dan. We know yacht rock shit. And we know Marvin Gaye. And we know that 70s soul and funk that he obviously mines for gems. But this is Thundercat giving a young crowd who probably have no idea who the Dixie Dregs are or that scene, and he's teaching his crowd what they should like. And he's getting away with it because, one, he's maybe the coolest human being in the world, and two, because he's so good. And man, Justin Brown is doing a phenomenal job of playing a style that you really don't hear anymore. We hear a lot of like fusion stuff, but man, but it's kind of more that derived from like Chick Corea era fusion. Sorry, like Electric Band, no. But this stuff, like Weather Report, like this era, man, that's dope. Yeah, he does have his drums out of order like Billy Cobham. This guy's got to be a Cobham fan. Justin Brown is killing it. But I mean, if you're a bass player for Thundercat, that's prerequisite. Keyboard player's dope too. That bass so alien. Plays a lot of chords. And man, let's talk about that. When you play with a busy bass player like this, and Thundercat's real busy, you can approach it in two ways, and Justin Brown has definitely taken the latter that I'm going to talk about. When you have a bass player that's real notey like that, the first way is to play simple and stay out of their way. Lay down simple grooves and let them do their thing. The other way to do it is get in there with them and play tennis and get inside and be just as notey and play off. And that's what you're hearing right here. Is this is a drummer and a bass player who are very well versed in this style that they are playing, and they know all the tricks on how to play back and forth. Man, Justin Brown just seems like he's just chewing gum and kicking ass. Like how you just know that there's a lot of people in the crowds like, oh, this is the guy that, produced that dope ass Kendrick Lamar shit. And he is, but then he's like, here's some shit you've never heard before that exists, you just don't know it. Oh man, what's it like to be that good? I want to know, just like one day. Listen to this 30-second note, drum feel that Mr. Brown comes out of to introduce that verse again. So yeah, like right there, you could feel that as like, and I'm not gonna try to sing with Thundercat singing, but that vocal line, you could just be like, whatever it is. I'm kind of tone deaf, but the drummer is making it feel more on the beat and more just frenetic is the best way I can put it. And that is decisions, and drummers, we have the power when it comes to making a song feel a certain way. White dude in the jacket's just like, I thought this was the Kendrick Lamar guy. What is this crazy instrumental stuff? They're like playing their instruments. Ugh. Great falsetto, holy shit. Yeah. Wow. That's a while ago. That's 2014. That was when he was first on the come up. Whoo! Thundercat, Justin Brown, and Tron Song. It wasn't about the movie Tron, unfortunately, because I really love the first Tron. Second Tron was okay. First Tron's classic. But of course, he would again mine something that's in our past for something that's cool and remind people that it's cool, even though the song's not about Tron. What Thundercat is doing, and Justin Brown apparently is his right-hand man in doing so, because I'm going to assume that he's playing with him still, because this is, again, from 6 years ago, he is reminding us of music that may have fallen out of favor, but is still amazing. And he's doing new and interesting and cool things with it. I think that he's going to be here to stay. I think, with his work with Kendrick Lamar, he was going to always be in demand in that way. But as a solo artist, he's just so good. And he's a perfect curator for what new ears should be listening to, like younger people. When I say new ears, like younger people, he is the man. And what he has done is went out and needed just a gunslinger, like a straight, as Frank Zappa would say, bad motherfucker, and he got Justin Brown. And Justin Brown was playing very 70s stylistic, a lot of like fusion drumming that you hear is real through the Dave Weckl school of like Garibaldi type linear type stuff that's very intellectual in its execution. What you were hearing there was the first styles of 70s fusion, which kind of, started with Bitches Brew, and when Jack DeJohnette did stuff with Miles Davis. I think DeJohnette's on the corner, don't quote me on that, but that style of 70s fusion was more swinging jazz influenced, where the fusion of like the 80s, the kind of fusion that I don't like, is more intellectual in its pursuit, where this was more visceral, and it was still a jazz. It was like a jazz approach, but still trying to just get your soul out on the stage. Whereas a lot of fusion that came on later was just people trying to remind you every 2 seconds that they went to Berklee College of Music. Give me this shit all day. Thundercat, thank you for existing. It is appreciated. Justin Brown, thank you for getting the Thundercat gig. Now, if y'all like that, please give me a like, comment, and share. Give me a double tap on the subscription and the notification bell. Feel free to peruse my Patreon and check out my merch table. And Thundercat, yes. And keep practicing until it's easy.